All right, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Yeah.
It's a really unique set of material we've got.
It is.
It's this incredibly detailed analysis of a 39-year-old guy in Germany.
Okay.
And his life is just full of these,
Twists and turns.
yeah, like major twists and turns, like a
Yeah.
past in the drug trade,
Mm-hmm.
but pretty serious health issues,
Right.
complete career reinvention. And then
Yeah.
on top of all of that, we've got this like challenge to figure out what it means for you,
Right.
like the listener.
Yeah. For the listener, like, what can we learn about the listener from this one guy's story?
Yeah, exactly. It's a fascinating
Setup.
for sure.
Yeah. And that's really what we're going to be focusing on here. Like, we're not just going to, like, recount his experiences.
Right.
We're really going to try to, like, dissect them
Yeah.
and understand, like, what are the core elements, you know, when someone faces these, like, huge life changes.
Right.
And really, for me, I think the mission here is to, like, uncover those unexpected lessons, you know, those aha moments that might resonate with you, you know, regardless of how different you might think your life is on the surface.
Right, exactly. And I think the setup is such that, you know,
It makes you think.
it makes you think, yeah, so let's give folks kind of a quick snapshot of this guy.
Okay.
He's 39 years old, German,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, spent a big chunk of his younger years, like 12 years,
Wow.
starting as a teenager,
Okay.
involved in the drug trade.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is that he seems to have done this without any major convictions.
Wow. That's pretty notable.
It's really notable, yeah. And then at 27, he made this like conscious decision to just change course.
Right.
Went back to school, got his qualifications, you know, 2014, 2015 timeframe,
Okay.
and then starts an apprenticeship to become a car mechanic in 2015.
Okay.
But here's where things take another like
Sure.
really sharp turn. Only 4 months into this apprenticeship, he develops medical necrosis in his ankle.
Oh, wow.
Really serious health issue.
Yeah.
Multiple surgeries hasn't resolved,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a chance of joint stiffening.
Wow.
But this guy is resilient, right? Like
Yeah.
late 2023, he starts teaching himself graphic design.
Oh, wow.
And then like towards the end of 2024, he starts looking into trading,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out maybe a faster path to financial independence.
Interesting.
So it's like a pretty dramatic
Terry.
journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's through this like very specific, dramatic journey
Right.
that we're hoping to find those universal threads.
Yeah.
You know, our goal for you, the listener, is like, can we pull out some surprising nuggets
Right.
about how you might navigate your own turning points, your own challenges, your own opportunities by like really examining like the details of this guy's experience.
Right.
You know, and I think even though the specifics of his background might feel like very far from yours, like the fundamental themes,
Right.
career shifts, confronting health obstacles,
Yeah.
this desire we all have for like a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
These are things that I think we all grapple with
In different ways.
in different ways, for sure.
Yeah. So let's unpack it, right?
Let's get into it.
Let's start with like the magnitude of like navigating these huge life changes.
Right.
Right. Like the analysis points out, leaving behind a long-term life in crime is like a huge psychological and social challenge.
Absolutely.
The general rate of
Recidivism.
in Germany, they call it in Germany, is around 34%.
Okay.
So the fact that this guy at 27 chose to step away from that life and pursue education.
Wow.
He completed his school leaving certificate
Right.
around 2014, 2015.
Right.
That's a big
Turning point. Yeah.
Makes you think about moments in your own life. Right?
Yeah, it does make you think. Have you ever felt that weight of past choices, you know?
Yeah. And thought about making like a big change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really fascinating here is that like the analysis points out the need for reorientation and reintegration
into society.
into society. Yeah. For someone who's been involved in crime, like education and professional qualifications.
That's so important.
They're so important, and it gives them a new role and a new identity within the community.
Right.
Right? And so his actions, going into vocational training, they directly line up with this research.
They do. It wasn't just stopping one way of life. It was about actively building a new one.
Yeah, and psychologically.
Yeah.
You know, like it talks about the need to let go of an old sense of self and embrace a new one.
Right.
And that takes honest self-reflection.
Right.
And it often requires a break from your old social circles.
It's just tough.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
So the fact that he initiated this change,
It makes you think like, wow, he's got
inner strength.
A lot of inner strength. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just as he's starting down this new path, this health setback hits the ankle necrosis.
Yeah.
4 months into his apprenticeship.
Right.
That's got to be
brutal. Ooh, it disrupts his plan.
Completely disrupts his plans. Multiple surgeries later.
Wow.
The possibility of a permanently stiffened joint.
That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And the analysis, rightfully points out the psychological impact.
Oh, yeah.
Of dealing with a chronic issue like this.
It's huge.
Around 40%.
40%.
Of people living with chronic pain.
Wow.
Develop depression or anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Not surprising.
But that's a big number.
A huge number.
Yeah.
So on top of the career upheaval.
Right.
He's dealing with this persistent pain.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And you can imagine, someone could become...
so despondent.
Yeah, despondent, resentful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this raises a really important question about how people respond when they're faced with these, unexpected and significant health crises.
Right.
And the analysis kind of contrasts two potential responses, withdrawal and active coping.
Right.
And, you can understand why someone might retreat inward, struggle with depression, lose their sense of purpose.
Right.
But this guy, it seems like he chose this path of active coping.
Right.
And you can see that, through his shift towards graphic design, late 2023, as a new professional direction.
Right.
And I think this is where that resilience, that inner strength really comes in.
Comes into play, yeah.
And the source mentions this interesting term, post-traumatic growth.
Oh, yeah.
Which are these positive psychological changes that can happen as a result of struggling with adversity.
Right.
So by setting these new goals, in creative and financial self-employment, he's showing this really proactive approach.
Yeah.
And the analysis notes, this is actually kind of unusual.
Right.
A lot of people, I think, facing similar circumstances, they might understandably give up.
Yeah, they would just
throw in the towel.
Give up. Yeah. So it's pretty incredible.
What are the key psychological elements then that really fuel these big life transitions?
Right. So the analysis talks about inner strength.
Okay.
Things like willpower.
Yeah.
Adaptability, frustration, tolerance.
Right.
This intrinsic motivation, you have to really want it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also talks about the role of external support.
Right.
Do you have a support network?
Yeah.
Do you have access to institutional aid?
Right, right.
And in this case, we don't know the extent of his social support.
Right.
But you can see that his self-taught approach to graphic design speaks volumes about his self-motivation.
Yeah, it really does.
So it makes you think about your own life.
Right. When you've encountered these huge challenges, where did your strength come from?
Right.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Or was it the people around you?
I mean, for me, I think it's always been a bit of both.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting to think about where the primary source comes from.
Yeah. And that's a really crucial question for you to consider. Where do you typically draw your strength from when things get rough?
Mm-hmm.
Are you the kind of person who relies on that internal drive?
Mm-hmm.
Or are those external support systems really critical for you?
Right.
And I think the analysis here highlights that to really make it through these big life changes, you often need a combination of both.
Both.
You need that inner strength and you need that support.
Okay, so let's get into the practical realities of these new ventures.
Yeah.
Graphic design and trading.
Right.
Starting these at almost 40.
Yeah.
Without a strong background in either.
Yeah.
What are his prospects?
Yeah. Yeah. What are the chances he's actually going to be able to build a stable life from this?
Yeah. Can he make a living?
Right.
So the analysis acknowledges the initial appeal, but also emphasizes how demanding these fields can be.
Right. Especially when you're switching careers later in life.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start with graphic design.
Okay.
The creative industry.
Yeah.
It offers pathways for people who are switching careers.
Yeah.
Especially if they've got natural talent and they're really committed to learning.
Right.
And the flexibility of freelance work is huge for someone who might need to work remotely.
Absolutely. Especially with these health limitations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the analysis is clear.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and effort.
It does.
To establish yourself.
Yeah.
You need to develop a really strong skill set.
Right. Learning the software.
Software, yeah.
Understanding design principles, typography.
Typography.
All of it.
All of it, yeah. And crucially, you got to build a portfolio.
Right. You got to show people what you can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And initially, he's likely to be looking at smaller, maybe lower paying projects.
Right. Yeah.
He might even have to do some unpaid work.
Yeah, to get that experience.
So to get the experience.
And build up those references.
Build up those references, yeah.
Testimonials.
Testimonials.
It's competitive out there.
It is.
There are a lot of design school grads.
Yeah.
A lot of established professionals.
Right.
So you got to stand out.
You got to stand out.
Yeah.
But the encouraging thing is that practical skills and genuine creativity can often be more valuable than formal qualifications.
Interesting.
So those design school grads might have the degree.
Right.
But if he can show that he can actually do the work, that's a huge advantage.
Huge advantage.
But continuous learning is going to be key.
Absolutely. Like online courses, tutorials, getting feedback on his work.
Right, right. And then there's the question of money, right?
Of course.
Can he make a living doing this?
So the average salary for an employed graphic designer in Germany is around $35,000 an hour.
Okay.
Now, freelance graphic designers, they can make more per hour.
Okay.
The average is around $77 an hour.
Wow.
But that average reflects established freelancers, people with a solid client base, a track record.
Right.
When you're starting out, you're going to earn considerably less.
Right.
Because you're not always going to have billable hours.
Right. You got to spend time marketing, finding clients.
Exactly. Learning more.
Learning more.
And there are going to be dry spells.
Right.
You know, periods without paid work.
Okay, so what's a realistic goal then?
I think initially it's about building a small core of regular clients.
Okay.
And maybe supplementing his income for the first year or two.
Right.
But as he gets more experience,
Yeah.
maybe specializes in a niche,
right.
builds a reputation.
Yeah.
His earning potential can definitely increase.
So it's a long game.
It is a long game.
Yeah.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right. So overall, for a career changer in graphic design, cautiously optimistic outlook.
I think so.
Yeah.
If you're prepared to put in the work,
right.
You're prepared for those modest initial earnings, and you're willing to put in the effort to build that reputation.
Right. And the creative industries are generally expanding.
They are.
So there's demand for fresh perspectives.
There is.
New skills.
Yeah, particularly in those niche areas that are growing so fast.
Right, like 3D graphics.
Yeah.
UX, UI.
Exactly.
So he's already started learning independently.
Right.
That's a good sign.
It's a great sign. It shows passion.
Yeah.
It shows that he's capable of self-directed learning.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Huge.
But patience and persistence
are key. Reaching a stable income in graphic design.
Yeah.
It's a process. Yeah. It's going to take years.
Likely several years.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about trading.
Trading.
It often holds this allure of quick riches.
Yeah.
Especially for people who feel like they need to catch up.
Yeah.
Financially.
Make up for lost time.
Make up for lost time, yeah.
Right.
But the analysis presents a very sobering
reality.
Yeah. 90%
of people who try to trade as their main source of income
lose money.
They lose money.
In the long run.
In the long run, or they just give up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
That's a stark statistic.
It's a really important statistic to consider.
Yeah. And the challenges.
Yeah.
They're huge, right?
Huge.
You need a deep understanding of financial markets.
Yeah, like you have to understand how these markets work.
You got to understand how they work.
You got to know the different strategies.
Trading strategies.
Technical analysis.
Risk management.
Risk management is huge.
It's huge.
And you need discipline.
Psychological discipline.
You can't be making emotional decisions.
Right. And people new to trading often make those mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They act impulsively.
Yeah.
They let their emotions get the best of them.
Right.
They don't manage their risk properly.
Fear and greed.
Fear and greed.
Yeah, and that desire for quick riches.
That's a dangerous one.
It's dangerous. It often leads to huge losses.
It does.
So the analysis really emphasizes that to succeed at trading, it takes a lot of learning.
It does.
Start small.
You start small.
And view every mistake as a learning opportunity.
Right. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Learn from it.
Learn from it.
Yeah.
And it can take years to develop a strategy that works for you.
Right. One that aligns with your skills, your risk tolerance, your psychology.
And being under financial pressure to make money from trading,
yeah,
that's a recipe for disaster.
It is. If you're desperate for those profits to cover your bills,
yeah,
it's just going to increase the stress and the likelihood that you'll make bad decisions.
Bad decisions.
Yeah.
So experienced professional traders, they generally advise against relying on trading as your main income source.
At least initially.
At least initially.
Right. Think of it as a long-term skill development project.
Right. So realistically, the probability of making a living solely from trading, statistically, it's low.
It's very low.
It's like under 10%.
Probably even less than that.
Yeah. And even if you do achieve consistent profitability, it can take years. And the returns might not be that great.
Especially if you're starting with limited capital.
Right.
It's a lot of work for maybe not that much reward.
But he's showing a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign.
It is. It is.
And having graphic design is another potential income stream.
Yeah.
That could help take some of the pressure off.
Absolutely.
So in the short term,
his
main goal should be to gain experience.
Experience, not profits.
Not profits.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of beginners are going to experience losses.
Yeah, it's almost inevitable.
Yeah, it's part of the learning curve.
Yeah.
But if you can stay disciplined, manage his risk.
Don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Right.
That's key.
And maybe find a mentor.
A mentor or a good community.
Yeah.
For guidance and support.
Right.
That can be huge.
Yeah. So trading could eventually become a supplementary income source.
Yeah. Potentially.
But achieving complete financial independence.
From trading alone.
From trading alone.
Yeah.
That's a really ambitious goal.
It is. You'd need exceptional skill, a deep understanding of the markets, and probably some luck.
Some luck, yeah.
So more likely it'll provide some flexibility while graphic design is the main focus.
Right. Okay. So let's look at what the analysis says about his resilience and his strategic thinking.
Let's dive into that.
So there are some key personality traits and decisions that really stand out.
What are they?
So what's interesting is how his past experiences, even those in the criminal world, seem to have built up
inadvertently.
Yeah. Certain valuable traits. Okay. So his decision at 27 to leave crime behind for a better future. That shows real goal-oriented long-term thinking.
Absolutely. He wasn't just focused on the immediate gains.
Right.
He was thinking about the bigger picture. Education, a stable career.
And that kind of foresight.
Yeah.
And the ability to make that turn.
Yeah.
It says a lot about him.
It does. It really speaks to his character.
And then his perseverance. In the face of that health crisis.
Right. He didn't just give up when his apprenticeship ended.
He didn't give up.
He didn't become despondent.
He found new fields to explore.
He kept going.
That's resilience.
It is. It's that refusal to be defeated.
Yeah. And then there's his willingness to learn. And his self-discipline.
Absolutely.
Like teaching himself graphic design.
That takes serious dedication.
It does. You need self-motivation.
Yeah.
Focus.
Locus.
And he's exploring trading too.
Right. So he's not putting all his eggs in one basket. He's got this continuous learning mindset.
Right. And that sense of self-efficacy and initiative.
He believes in himself.
He believes in himself.
He believes he can shape his own future.
And instead of being discouraged by the health challenges, he proactively pursued education. New careers.
That belief in his own ability to overcome obstacles, that's crucial.
It's crucial. And then there's the realistic optimism.
Okay.
Despite all the challenges he's faced, he's still got this positive outlook.
Right.
He believes he can create a better future.
Yeah. Otherwise, why would he be starting these new ventures?
Right. And it's not blind optimism.
No.
He's realistic.
Yeah. He seems to have done some research before jumping into trading.
Right.
He's aware of the challenges.
So it's this balance of hope and a practical understanding of the difficulties.
And that's a good combination.
It is,
It keeps you motivated, but it also prevents you from being reckless.
Right. And then finally, his flexibility and adaptability.
Yes, it's huge.
It's huge. Going from illegal activities to vocational training.
To creative and financial fields.
That takes a lot of willingness to change.
It does.
To reorient himself.
Yeah.
And it suggests that he's not afraid of change.
Right.
Which is a valuable strength these days.
Absolutely. Because things are constantly changing.
Right.
So if you can adapt,
you're
going to be in a much better position.
So all these traits together, the goal orientation, the self-efficacy, the realistic optimism, they really suggest a high degree of resilience.
Yeah. And I think the strategic element is evident too. Like he's making these considered choices.
Right.
Education first, then vocational training.
Yeah.
Now these parallel career paths.
Right.
He's weighing the risks and opportunities all while dealing with his health.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
So these personality characteristics are a real asset for him. He can approach future obstacles with patience and strategic planning.
Yeah, he's got the tools.
So now let's look at the factors that could influence his long-term success.
Okay, so both the potential hindrances and the facilitator.
The things that could help him.
Exactly.
So starting with the hindrances.
Okay.
His chronic health issues.
Right.
That's a big one.
It is the pain.
The pain.
The potential for a stiff ankle.
Yeah.
That's a long-term physical limitation.
Can drain him.
Physically and mentally. It could affect his ability to work.
All right.
And we talked about the impact of chronic pain on mental well-being, the risk of depression and anxiety.
Right. He's going to need ongoing medical care.
Yeah. Appointments management.
And any further complications.
Yeah.
Could set him back.
Absolutely. It could slow down his progress in his new careers.
Then there's his unconventional life path.
Right.
And the lack of formal qualifications.
Yeah. Beyond his school-leaving certificate, it's good he doesn't have major convictions. Yeah. But that past involvement in drug trafficking, it could lead to misunderstandings, mistrust from potential clients or employers.
Yeah, if they find out.
If they find out.
Right, and in a traditional job market, not having a formal qualification in graphic design.
Or a trade.
Yeah.
Could be a problem.
A big problem, yeah.
A lot of employers want to see those credentials.
Right, they want the traditional resume.
Exactly.
And his age, combined with the limited work experience, could lead to age bias.
Absolutely.
So that's a lot to overcome.
It is.
And then there's the financial insecurity.
Right.
He's likely experienced since 2015.
Yeah, he's probably been relying on savings, state support, maybe help from family.
Right.
Which creates pressure.
It does, yeah.
You know, investing in equipment training for graphic design, putting capital into trading.
Yeah.
That could strain his resources.
Right, and the need to make money quickly.
Yeah.
Could lead to risky decisions.
Especially in trading.
Especially in trading.
Yeah, where you can lose money fast.
Right.
If you're not careful.
And the analysis also mentions the potential psychological burdens.
Yeah.
From his past.
His past in crime.
Yeah.
And the years of health problems that could have left scars.
Psychological scars.
Yeah. Maybe reduced self-confidence. Anxiety.
Yeah.
Pessimism.
Right. And there's lack of a network.
Yeah.
In his new fields.
Right. Leaving the drug scene.
Yeah.
Probably meant losing those old contacts.
Yeah.
And the health issues.
Yeah.
Could have led to some isolation.
Right. So in graphic design and trading.
He's starting from scratch.
From scratch, no network.
No network.
And that makes it tough.
It does, to find jobs, clients, mentors, support.
He's on his own.
He's got to figure it out himself.
And finally, structural barriers.
Right.
He's making a career change later in life.
Yeah.